The digital chronometer on Analyst D-Ray's KS console stuttered, the glowing blue numbers freezing for a microsecond before refreshing with a visible atomic lag beneath his scaled fingertips. The dead air hiss of the subspace monitors felt strangely cold, like a physical layer of frost coating the audio data. "DRA's EK frowned, tapping the glass to clear what he assumed was a routine synchronization error. 72 hours. That was the exact duration of the Terran silence since the research convoy had been intercepted near the VR marches. DRAZ-IK looked up from his bracket junior station, his gaze sweeping across the grand observation deck of the Threnody border wall. Beyond the reinforced transparent shielding, 1,400 kilometers of armored relay platforms glittered against the black. A 314-year monument to VOKKR security. To the VOKKR, noise was life, a constant stream of data, clicking claws, and bureaucratic chatter. This total absence of human transmission felt like a biological glitch. Inside the TPS long memory, drifting in the thermal shadow of a nearby moon, Captain Lindquist did not look like a man about to topple Empire. He sat in his command chair, the dim red tactical lights catching the deep creases around his tired eyes. Slowly, he pulled a scratched analog wristwatch from his pocket, a gift from his daughter, Ilar, who used to draw messy clocks on his napkins with yellow chalk. With a steady, mechanical ritual, he began to win the crown. Rhythmic click, 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 the only sound in the bridge. TRAZ-EK watched the marshal of the wall, the Wiretech, pace the command tier. The Wiretech's claws clicked rhythmically on the hollow table as he poured a measure of thick, purple sap wine. "The humans have finally broken," the marshal declared, his voice booming with the confidence of a species that had repelled 9 crusades, negotiating with themselves. Their biological need for social validation has collapsed into internal bickering. Analysis. DRAZ-IK. The silence is unusual, sir. DRAZ. His own voice sounding thin. But Captain Lindquist is a veteran of the long-haul sectors. Humans of his age often enter a state of negotiation fatigue. He is likely waiting for Earth Central Command to draft a formal grievance. DRAZ-IK genuinely believed it. To the VOKKR, who operated on collective consensus, a lone ship going quiet meant the pilot was drowning in indecision or fear. A junior bracket analyst nearby let out a clicking chortle. Earth's last 3 grievance letters were 40% longer than our entire security manual. They are far too busy writing poetry about their dead scientists to arm a single torpedo. It is a known human quirk. They complain to avoid the cost of a fight. DRAZ-IK nodded, though his eyes kept drifting back to the stuttering chronometer. Beneath the VOKKR's clinical arrogance, the echo pulse array on the long memory was silently working. It wasn't broadcasting a signal. It was catching the subspace lag produced by the wall's own massive relay network and mirroring it back. Lindquist continued to rub the cracked glass of his daughter's watch. Across his monitors, the 1,400-kilometer wall was being mapped not by its physical location, but by the tiny, 3-second delay in its own heartbeat. Through the subspace lag, Lindquist saw every node, every ammunition depot, every single vulnerability hidden behind the armored plates. He wasn't waiting for instructions from Earth. He was waiting for the VOKKR to finish their wine. DRAZ-IK's breath hitched as the subspace lag on his screen spiked into a jagged, impossible peak. On the command tier, Marshal V. Wiretech remained oblivious, his attention fixed on the slow, thick stream of sap wine filling his glass. The silence of the Terran vessel, once interpreted as the lethargy of a broken crew, now felt like the held breath of a predator. What happens when a species built on noise meets a man who has mastered the silence? DRAZ-IK finally understood that the 72 hours of dead air were not a lack of signal. They were a sonar ping. By remaining quiet, the long memory had used the Threnody wall's own armored relay platforms as a massive, unintended acoustic imaging array. Every packet of data the Vokkar sent internally had echoed back to the Terrans, mapping the network's lag with surgical precision. The Marshal sighed, setting the silver bottle down with a soft chime. "Drak, order the second bracket analysts to begin the morning rotation," he said, reaching for a small, sharp-peeled slice of fruit. He bit into the rind, grumbling about the excessive acidity. Lindquist dapped his wristwatch in 400 kilometers of border armor went dark in 3 seconds. The wire tech froze, the fruit slice still pressed against his lower lip. Across the entire border wall, the lights didn't just flicker. They vanished as if the universe itself had blinked. The Echo Pulse Array had delivered a single, synchronized burst of inverted data into the wall's relay nodes at the exact microsecond of their peak resonance. Total collapse followed. From the first node failure to the final sector surrender. Only 11 minutes passed. DRA's EIC watched his board turn into a graveyard of read icons. The armored platforms, which had withstood 3 centuries of kinetic fire, were now nothing more than floating debris, their internal logic shredded by the very lag they had generated. A crackle erupted on the emergency channel. It was Lindquist's. His voice carried no heat, no triumph, only the cold, heavy weight of a man who had finished a job. "You shouldn't have stopped counting," the captain said, in the silence that followed. DRA's IK thought of the 412 researchers from the science convoy. He thought of Eleanor Lindquist, the 7-year-old girl who would never draw another yellow clock on a napkin, and the irreversible weight of a father's patience. The border wall was gone. But the real devastation was the realization that the Vokkar had mistaken human grief for human weakness. The threnody ruins drifted in the dark, skeletal and cold. DRA's IEK sat at his salvage desk weeks later, staring at the scratched analog wristwatch that had been recovered from the debris field. It had been returned to the Vokkar as a formal gift, a penance that felt like a threat. The mechanical second hand swept forward with a steady, physical tick. Beside it, the ceremonial sap wine bottle remained capped and dusty. DRA's IEK watched the watch face, refusing to look away from the movement of the gears. The ticking of the metal gears was the only sound in the room.